In 2002, China experienced an epidemic of SARS, which had resulted in several thousand cases and several hundred deaths. Now a new virus has come out of the same country, one that is related to the earlier one and similarly deadly, but far more communicable. The novel coronavirus, now known as SARS-CoV-2, has so far resulted in nearly 3 million confirmed cases worldwide and has taken at least 200,000 lives in just a few months. After months of exponential growth, the daily increase in SARS-CoV-2 cases has finally begun to decrease. Most countries by now have issued lockdowns and stay-at-home orders, one of which is the United States, which currently has the most amount of cases and deaths. This has caused many businesses to move to teleworking or to be temporarily shut down, leaving many without being able to work. And life as we know it has been changed dramatically, even down to the individual level. My name is Isaac Zelinski, and I'll be presenting one person's account of life during the pandemic. With me is Anna Zelinski-Gafford, a local resident who's been practicing self-quarantine. To start, we'll talk about general thoughts regarding the pandemic. When did you first hear about the virus?
I believe in mid-January is when I started reading articles about COVID-19, on websites like CNN and BBC. But also my son, I live with him, he's 19 years old. He was at that time kind of doing more in-depth article searching on his end. And so I was learning more about the issues that were behind the scenes in China at the time when it was confined to that area that wasn't making mainstream news.
What did you do to prepare for the pandemic?
So to prepare for the virus, well, before the numbers really started ticking up in the U.S., I started making these sort of micro trips, very frequent micro trips to places like Target and Walmart, even some online places to stock up on sanitation items and foodstuffs. I only live with one other family member, my son, so we didn't usually keep a pantry full of stuff, so this was sort of a big change, but yeah.
So, how has your life been impacted by this pandemic?
So, my life's being impacted on several fronts right now. One is I'm teleworking now, been doing that for about a month, and what's interesting is so I'm a librarian at Pax River Naval Air Station, and I work at an innovation hub. And so while I am 100% teleworking, I actually do have colleagues in the same building I work in who were 3D printing face shields for the local community. So I'm also taking doctoral classes. I was attending in person in Baltimore, but that's sort of a hot spot right now, so been now meeting up with my class via Zoom, so that's different. And then also, I guess on the home front, I live with my 19-year-old son, and he's able to continue taking all of his classes online. But my husband is actually in Harrisonburg, Virginia. He is an airplane mechanic, and we have not seen him since January. So the restrictions that are imposed by the governors and then down to the local level has kept us apart for a little while, and we anticipate we'll be apart for a much longer period of time. Also, as a plane mechanic and the type of plane that he's working on, he is a critical need employee. So he does need to don and has been donning PPE and engaging with the social distancing at work. There have been a couple of colleagues on his team that have been sent home. In fact, my husband was sent home for a little bit to do some self-isolating, just to make sure that as people are finding out that they're sick and or know that they've been exposed to somebody who had recently traveled or whatever, that they're checking to make sure that they aren't spreading virus.
Alright, well, when do you believe things will return to normalcy, if they will?
I have no idea. So it's really difficult when you're told to pretty much stay home for an extended period of time, which I'm totally for. And, to be able to see all the changes that are occurring, like the empty streets, especially if you're in certain pockets of the world, and just you to see life come to a standstill, you don't really see that. I mean, just like I don't see other people in isolation, but that there are millions of people around the world that are doing the same thing. So what I have in lieu of that is news, online news, that tells me what's going on and how to feel and where the issues are and how we're going to get through it. And they're all telling different stories. And of course, coming from certainly a non-subject matter expert, I have no idea. I can only hope that things can get back to normal as soon as possible. But all you have to do is flip through the pages of history to see how people have survived, if you will, gotten through past pandemics. And I guess we would just look back at the history books, and however we did it in the past is how we will proceed now. It's just we don't have the luxury of having lived through previous things, or most of us don't. So I don't know. In some ways I have some normalcy, I guess. My paycheck still comes in. I still tell work to deserve that paycheck. I'm still taking my classes. I'm still able to feed myself. I still have a home. I'm an introvert, so being home is not necessarily a bad thing. And I don't see a bunch of people out there, so I don't really have people to talk to kind of bounce thoughts and insights off of. So it's kind of a question, just makes me sort of ramble and answer out, but I don't know. This will be interesting, economically and politically, and both at a micro local level as well as internationally, how we get back to normal. And I would assume there might be some new norms. Norms tend to shift, you would think, progressively with time anyway. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I think we'll cap it off at that. Thank you for letting me interview you, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with me.
Not a problem. Thank you for interviewing me.
As of right now, the outcome of this pandemic is uncertain, whether it will grow worse or resolve itself in time. Regardless, this is a serious and historical event we are all living through right now. Thank you for watching, and remember to take precautions by staying indoors, practicing social distancing, wearing a mask, and washing your hands.